So this can get pretty hairy pretty quickly. Let's look at an example. We took a random sample of students attending public high schools in a community. On average, 75% of the students reported playing internet games 2 or more hours Monday through Thursday. We're wanting to get to within a 95% level of confidence. What we find when we do this is our results are accurate within plus or minus 3 percentage points, right? Therefore, we conclude, looking at plus or minus 3 percentage points and referring back to 75% of the students reporting what they did, we're going to conclude that 72 to 78% of all public high school students in the community play 2 or more hours of internet games Monday through Thursday. So we can pretty much say that because of the plus or minus 3 percentage points, we're going to say the 95% confidence interval is correct. So we're pretty darn confident. Next, we're going to move to non-probability sampling. And this is a sampling that is not representative of the population because not all units have the same or equal chance of being selected. So there's a biased sample. And we're going to look at 4 basic types of non-probability sampling. We're going to look at propositive sampling, volunteer sampling, quota sampling, and snowball sampling. Propositive sampling is when we select units most knowledgeable about a subject of study. So we're looking for like a key informant or an expert. So if I'm looking for opinions related to chemicals in a stream, right, getting somebody at the local grocery store may not help me. But if I go and ask an expert related to chemicals or stream ecology or something like that, that'll give me better information. So it's not a random sample. It is a propositive sample. The next is volunteer sampling, and this is also known as convenience sampling. And this is where you take anybody and anybody that's willing to take your survey or be included in the research that agree to do it. The next type of sampling we'll look at is quota sampling, which is where you recruit units from very specific subgroups. It's the non-probability equivalent to stratified. And usually this is when you want to look at a very specific population, and a lot of times you'll ask everybody within that subgroup that you've identified. Then we'll look at snowball sampling. So you start with a unit who meets your study criteria. So you're looking for somebody very specific to answer questions about your study or your survey. And then you ask that person for a suggestion on who might also meet the criteria and should be the next person you interview or survey. So think about this. If you're looking at somebody who's, if you're doing research related to coffee cup manufacturing, right? So you go talk to somebody who you know who makes coffee cups at a local kiln or a pottery, and you've identified one potter that does that. After you've talked to them about that, you're going to say, who's another potter or who else can I talk to you about the manufacturing of coffee cups? And so they provide you your lead, and you go to the next person who meets that qualification. So let's take a look at a couple of examples of non-probability sampling. Number 1, you set up tables outside of a public rest stop and ask people to complete your survey. This would be volunteer sampling. While you're asking everybody or anybody that comes by, you're simply taking volunteers as they come up. Number 2, you form a committee of park systems, mid and upper level managers to come up with ideas to make parks more appealing. So this is propositive sampling. You're selecting someone based on expertise on a very specific criteria. Third, you ask drivers from in-state and out-of-state to complete a survey before they leave a park. So this is quota sampling. You're looking at 2 different groups and you're getting a certain number of people from each group. Finally, your staff report that few young adults visit their nature centers. You observe a young adult visiting a nature center and you ask that person to complete an interview. So they've fit a criteria that you're looking for. You also enlist that person to provide you with the name of another person who knows that they know that visits nature centers in the community. So you're looking at a very specific person and you're asking that person for your next person or your lead.